Alright. We got some Jimquisition. Guess what Jimquisition is talking about? Those layoffs. Oh my god, everybody's fucking talking about them. Let's see what the Jimquisition has got to say. It will be entertaining and stylish. I gotta play the remake. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it.
Before we begin today's rip-roaring episode, I do want to just give a little bit of a shout-out to the gamers, TM, who are currently really mad at the Dead Space remake for having content warnings that you can go into the options and switch on if you want to be warned about graphic content. You can go into those options to turn those on. They're off by default. They're just there for someone who might want to enjoy a horror game, but not every aspect of it. And a number of gamers are furious at this, offended by this.
Of course they are.
I understand where they're coming from, which is why I want to say... You fucking babies! Oh my god! If you are offended at the existence of content warnings, if you need a content warning for a content warning, you are every bit the spineless fucking snowflake you accuse other people of being.
You really are! Oh my god.
Oh, what's that? Miniature fantasy commander Sterling? Oh, they're pissed off that some people of colour and LGBTQ plus people are mentioned in the game as well. Oh, yes! Anyway.
Oh, god.
Layoffs.
Yeah, the layoffs. Anyway.
If you can count on corporations for one thing, it's to make worse the very fuck-ups they themselves
That'd be
are
me in an office job,
for,
just staring
as corporate interests
dead
continue to ravage
on
what's
the
left
inside
of a society they took charge of and promptly drove into a fucking hedge. They have undertaken another round of making things hellacious for people on an individual level as well as on the macro scale. With rising inflation, increased cost of living, and massive wealth inequality, all of which can be laid at the feet of profit-motivated executive vultures, it's been decided that what we need now are massive industry-wide layoffs, depriving hundreds if not thousands of people of their livelihoods.
I love how that's like
the kind of moronic.
I love how that's like the title of like basically every article about whenever this happens. Why are they laying so many people off with record-breaking profits? It's like it's again and again and again. I would be literally scared if I worked for someone or somewhere where they had record-breaking profits, and I'll be looking at my fellow cubicle prisoners, and I'd be like, wonder which one of us is staying and going. We did too good of a job, guys. We did too good of a job.
Cruelty we've come to expect as companies punish their own workforce for mistakes they made, never once considering taking an affordable hit to their own vast wealth. To boot, these layoffs are for a dumb reason. A reason that only makes sense to people whose perception of reality borders on the childishly fantastical. The tech sector is currently being gutted by layoffs across the industry, with media outlets joining in on the life-wrecking fun. Most relevant to interests here is Microsoft, of course, one of the most valuable companies in the world, with executives
just a little.
They
make
millions of dollars in bonuses
they make a little
alone. Microsoft
make a little
has,
money.
at the time of writing, laid off a staggering,
couple of them zeros,
fucking horrifying 10,000 people. Between them, Microsoft and Amazon are credited with tearing 28,000 jobs away from the people who relied on them. And I'm going to keep using that word for as long as this microphone's pop filter allows me to. People. Because too much
pop
reporting,
filter
anytime
has
this
seen
happens,
things.
fails to use that word. They're workers, employees, but they're so very rarely called people. The only time the corporate world uses the word human is when it precedes the word resources. But they're people. For fuck's sake. Humans. Not human resources, but human beings. We've gotten far too used to the dehumanization that allows executives to upend thousands of lives without remorse, reflection, or regret. And no matter how many times they wring their hands, no matter how much they claim the decision was hard, they truly feel no guilt about this. Because they could stop. They could stop the routine of mass hirings followed by mass layoffs. They could stop awarding themselves millions of dollars and being by far the biggest unnecessary financial drain in any industry. And the thralls who crawl out from under the testicles of Elon Musk to defend capitalism will tell you it's just not that easy. But you know what? It is. We should stop pretending this is complicated, because it isn't. It's a choice. The billionaires at the top of our economic system choose to hoard wealth, and the millionaires under them enable it. By choice. Son of a bitch! I said the reason for the layoffs were dumb. They are. It's because Microsoft is making money. Microsoft continues to make money.
I wonder if they ever actually say that out loud and think
grow,
they sound smart.
But, oh, whoa. Oh, tragedy! It's growing slower! It's making less money than it was making before, while still making money. The horror, the fear, oh, the sympathy this multi-billion-dollar corporation most surely deserves. Revenue is down. We hear this often when it comes to layoffs, and we're supposed to understand that this is horrifying, but it really isn't. Microsoft continues to make money. Loads of it. Enough to continue to keep its upper management fabulously fucking rich. But the revenue, ye gods, it is down! Time to panic, time to retreat, time to take away what 10,000 people needed to survive. Microsoft has shown the slowest growth in years, which,
and
to
what's
those
wild,
who actually do sympathize with
it's
the
wild when you think of it.
It's quite worrying.
It's like, for billionaires, firing tens of thousands of people is like their version of penny pinching, just because of a slight dip in their revenue, and I do mean slight, because they're still making money.
Sure, for you game lovers out there, sick freaks, Xbox revenue was down a terror-striking 12%. Yeah, scarily presented stuff, unless you focus on the most important word in the headline. Growth. The slowest growth in years is still growth. They're getting bigger. They're getting richer. Just a bit slower than before. It's like
of course
the
they're
old
getting
meme
slower.
Of Duncan Dunsler saying, last year I had 33 presents. Of course, being a Harry Potter meme, I'm obligated to point out that J.K. Rowling is a raving transphobic wingnut whose embrace of fascism knows no limits. God, I'm not looking forward to having to do the inevitable Hogwarts episode. Anyway, 10,000 people have to suffer
it's gonna be a
because
dumpster
Microsoft
fire.
continues to grow at a slower pace than it's been growing. And that's fucking pathetic. We're supposed to be shocked at the direness of Microsoft's situation, but shrug at its behavior. To be all, whoa, times are tough in the tech sector, but accept that the tens of thousands of lost jobs are just an unavoidable, inevitable consequence. But why is slower growth a problem, really? Well, I'll tell you. It's because capitalism as it exists is built on a lie. A fantastical lie that companies tell their investors and then scramble desperately to falsify year after year. The lie that rapid, infinite growth is not an impossibly childish delusion, but a fact that the wealthy are entitled to benefit from. We've touched on this idea before in videos, and sadly we'll have to do again because the lie will never stop being repeated. Every publicly traded company isn't expected to just be successful, to merely be profitable. Oh no, it's expected to be more successful than last year, every year, for fucking ever. When a company isn't smashing its own expectations and posting record revenue, investors panic, the stock drops, the value goes down, and all hell breaks loose, while those on the lowest rungs of the ladder pay for it. This lie is why video game companies are terrified to take risks, why they latch onto what Ubisoft recently called mega brands, why they aggressively monetize the shit out of everything. It's why so many video games, even after selling millions of copies, are treated as disappointments that performed below expectations, because success isn't enough. Nothing is enough unless it's rapid growth that grows rapidly forever. And what happens in a year where you're so successful you struggle to see how you could improve? You cut costs. And that's why Activision Blizzard in 2019 laid off hundreds of people despite abusive wannabe murderer and CEO Bobby Kotick boasting of the company's record
I swear to God.
When you've promised infinite growth but grow as high as you can, the only way to keep up the illusion is to start jettisoning the people whose hard work got you that growth. This is one reason why the idea of buying games and DLC and microtransactions to support developers is bullshit. Layoffs will happen regardless of success. In fact, thanks to the great lie of infinite growth, layoffs can and do happen because of success. Whatever it takes to make this year's purse look bigger than last year's purse. Anything to maintain the lie. Record revenue, hundreds of layoffs. Those two things were not unrelated when Activision boasted of the former while triggering the latter.
Yeah, see, all these articles looking the same. Record-breaking profits,
Most famous
layoffs.
one after my signature sign-off line is, corporations don't just want some of the money, they want all of the money. I say it a lot to explain the single-minded avaricious drive behind the game industry's bottomless barrel of unscrupulous profiteering. It's a phrase that was taught to me by an old friend who worked at Square Enix, and it was that person's response to the shamelessly greedy, money-hungry attitudes they witnessed over the years. I've made that phrase a mantra ever since, and it's been repeated online a lot as time's gone by, and corporations have done nothing but continue to prove it over and over again. All of the money, all of the time, tens of thousands of people losing their means of survival because wealthy individuals were getting wealthier slower. Now that's a fucking perfect encapsulation of the idea. But it's all normal, right? We've seen this happen before and will again. It's just business.
It's just
after
depressing.
all. That's what we're told.
Infuriating.
That's what people tell me all the time. It's just business. As if such an insipid statement is self-justifying. Well, you know what? It's not. And simply saying it's just business isn't good enough anymore. Why is it just business? Why does business have to be so crude, cruel, and callous? There's only one reason. The people running it are crude, cruel, and callous. They're another C word too. No, not cunts. They're cowards.
Yeah.
Cowards hiding behind the just business excuse to absolve themselves from the responsibility of their actions.
Where is your shirt,
As much
sir?
as I loathe to admit it, the CEOs, the execs, the shareholders running this corrupt scam of a socio-economic system are, like those whose lives they toy with, people. They're people. Not machines, not algorithms. They're human beings who design and maintain a system explicitly geared toward making them as much money as possible at the expense of 99% of everyone else. And what they're doing is evil. They can pretend it's out of their hands, that this is just business and therefore totally not their fault. But that's not the case. They're choosing to do an evil thing. Business is not a god. It's not a supernatural force. It's not an immutable law of nature. It's a series of systems designed by people, enforced by people, that subjugates most people and enriches a few people. Business is people hurting people and blaming business. Oh, and I was a little dishonest a moment ago. Another C word for these people actually is cunts.
Oh, by the way, just spitballing here, a lot of these companies say that demand for their products is going down. Do you think maybe that is a knock-on effect from the rising costs and the layoffs and the fact that the incredibly wealthy people transferred so much wealth from poorer people to themselves? So while everyone's struggling to pay rent, they're buying fewer computers? You think maybe that might be something to do with it? Oh, it's almost as if taking everyone's money away means they can't buy your shit! You fucking clowns! It's called clown, that's another C word for them.
It's worth remembering, of course,
all the C words,
that
all
the
the C words.
coronavirus pandemic saw the largest transfer of wealth in history, as the poor got way poorer as a result of a worldwide pandemic, and through various exploitations, the rich got incredibly richer. It's that same kind of exploitative, predatory mindset that once saw an Applebee's executive gloat that fuel prices were so high that workers couldn't afford to take another job and would have to be stuck with their company and their excessively low wages. I said in the video that these executives, that these industry leaders are people, and that does need to be remembered. But I have said in past videos that they are barely people. I want you all to remember, yes, that human beings are the ones at the helm of this corrupt, cynical, sickening, broken by design socioeconomic system that we're all forced to engage with. But they don't think like you or me. They're fucking twisted. And it is evil. That word gets thrown around a lot, but this is evil. If you wake up with so much money, you could give every poor person in the country $1,000 that would change their lives, and you wouldn't even feel it. If you could give everyone in the country $1,000 and be so rich that by the time you're done, interest has made you richer than when you started, and you choose instead to live in a world where people are dying from medical debt and dying from starvation and dying because they can't afford the energy bills that were raked up for a giggle, you're evil. You're evil. Anyway.
Yeah, you're not the hero of the story. Watch a movie.
Capitalism.
Watch a TV show. Read a fucking book.
You can actually criticize capitalism in your critiques.
Read
of
a
the
fucking
gaming industry,
history
so long
book.
as you don't actually say that
You're
word,
not the hero.
because then people realise what
You're the
you're
villain.
talking about, and then they get mad. Maybe I should put up a content warning to let you know when I'm about to do that. Oh, but wait, that'll piss people off as well. Anyway. Now I've got to prepare for next weekend, where I will be fighting a legitimate British bodybuilding champion.
Oh my god,
That'll
no.
be Sunday, February 5th in Manchester. I'll be at Sovereign
I
Pro
would
Wrestling's
go
Heavy
to those
is the
shows
Head.
if I lived
It's
in
going
that
to
area.
be
I would.
huge. We had a massive, like scary, massive crowd for the last Sov Pro show. This one's going to be like just immense. Really looking forward to it. I will let you all know how that goes next Monday. I have a feeling it's going to be a watershed moment. It's the kind of match that I've been building up to my whole career, so it sincerely means a lot to me, this one. I think it's going to be a really special night.
I hope they have a good one. I hope they have a good one.
Career that I'm not good enough to fight, so actually getting to do that is just mind-blowing. But anyway,
that's so cool.
I'm going to go now. Thank you all
that they're able
for
to do
watching
that.
and supporting, and thank God for me.
Oh my god. Always a good ending on a Jimquisition. Always a good ending. Oh man. Once again, Jimquisition. Fucking amazing video. Oh man.
Told my whole career.
That was another good video, but once again, Jimquisition bringing those hard facts, those truths, and it's just sad no one seems to be listening, except for like the fans that already know all this. That's the sad part. It's like, can one of these sociopathic or psychotic or barely human people in charge of these companies watch one of these videos and have a come to Jesus moment if they need to? I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not really religious, so it's just a saying. But they need to like Look in a fucking mirror and realize you're not the hero. You're the villain. I just, oh god, it's just fucking crazy. And also, fucking people complaining about bullshit like content warnings and shit. Can y'all just leave? No one invited you. No one wants you around. You're like that person that came to a wedding where no one knows who you are.